going to be a hard talk, so I want you to understand what I'm about to say. But women are the cost of emotion. Sit with that. Sit with that. Women are the cost of emotion. Because if the emotional man learned the truth at the end, the emotional woman learns it right at the beginning and gets punished for knowing it too soon. Where the emotional man gets loved and feared, she gets doubted and disciplined. Where his feeling gets treated like a power that needs containment, hers gets treated like noise that needs correction. For the first time, right, her very first time speaking honestly, the world answered her with calibration. Not are you okay, but are you sure? But are you sure? Not tell me more, but tone it down. Not I believe you, but let's be reasonable. So, just so you can understand what's actually going on. Women became the cost of emotion because the world refused to pay for it itself. When men were not allowed to feel safely, their feeling was somewhere else. And guess where it went? Into women's nervous systems. It's true. Their self-doubt, their second-guessing, their constant emotional bookkeeping. She was told too emotional. She was told she was too emotional while being asked to absorb everyone else's emotions quietly. She was told to be compassionate without ever being believed in her compassion. She was told to trust her intuition until that intuition named something inconvenient. It's true. So when men broke, she blamed them for she got blamed for choosing wrong. When men shut down, she was blamed for wanting too much. When men lied to survive, she was blamed for not being patient enough to fix it. And that's the part no one wants to say about this. That the emotional woman did not inherit blame because she was cruel. Nope, wasn't true. But because someone had to be held responsible for what no one wanted to carry. She learned to doubt herself before anyone else could. She learned to pre-edit truth, to soften clarity. Right, to soften clarity, to apologize for accuracy. She learned to say, maybe I'm overreacting. Not because she believed it, but because belief had consequences. Right? I just want you to understand, because the worst realization about this does not arrive as anger. No, it arrives as erosion, right? The erosion of herself. The moment that her body starts to understand, even when I'm right, I'll be treated as unstable. That's that breaking point, right? That's where some sacred fractures, right there. Not her empathy. Her empathy's still good. Not her intelligence, but her self-trust. And when a woman loses self-trust, right, I want you to understand she doesn't stop feeling, she stops believing herself. And that's the real catastrophe going on in the whole system. Because when the emotional woman stops trusting her perception, the world loses its earliest warning system. It's true. Reality keeps happening, but no one is allowed to name it without punishment. So women were made the cost of emotion so the world wouldn't have to reckon with what it feels. Right? I'm just calling it what it is, right? Men pay by lying. Women pay by doubting themselves. Neither chose this, though. Nobody chose this, but both were trained into it. So your emotions, nobody's emotions, right? And I want you to understand this. Nobody's emotions in this world are the problem, right? Nobody's. But the emotional woman's emotions are the receipt. It's true, right? You weren't keeping too much. You were keeping the leisure for a world in emotional debt, and you're allowed to stop paying that. You're allowed to stop paying that because it's a systemic debt. You're allowed to trust what you feel.